Hello everyone. Welcome back to our channel. Today, I'd like you to think about something. A simple question. Where does happiness live? Perhaps you've never asked yourself that question before. Most people haven't. And yet, many of us spend our entire lives answering it. Not with words, with decisions, with goals, with plans, with dreams. Again and again. Maybe you've experienced this before. Most people have. You tell yourself, I'll be happy when. I'll be happy when I graduate. I'll be happy when I get a better job. I'll be happy when I make more money. I'll be happy when I move somewhere new. I'll be happy when I become fluent in English. The sentence changes. The ending changes. But the beginning often stays the same. I'll be happy when. It is a very human tendency. We all struggle with this from time to time. Imagine standing in a train station. A train is about to arrive. People are waiting. Some look excited. Some look tired. Some look impatient. Everyone seems focused on the same thing. The next station. The next destination. The next place. Imagine sitting on that train. The journey begins. Outside the window, fields pass by. Trees pass by. Rivers pass by. Mountains pass by. Small towns appear and disappear. The world is moving. Quietly. Beautifully. But imagine spending the entire journey thinking only about the destination. You never look out the window. You never notice the changing sky. You never notice the river beside the tracks. You never notice the golden light of the afternoon. You are always focused on where you are going. Never on where you are. Perhaps many people live this way. Perhaps many people believe happiness is waiting at the next station. Maybe you've felt this before. Most people have. As children, we think happiness lives in the future. If only I were older, then we become older. And something interesting happens. The destination changes. If only I could finish school. Then school ends. And once again, the destination moves. If only I could find the right job. Then the job arrives. And once again, the destination moves. If only I could earn more. Then more arrives. And once again, the destination moves. The pattern feels strangely familiar, doesn't it? Life has a curious way of doing this. Imagine chasing the horizon. You walk toward it. The horizon moves. You walk faster. The horizon moves. You keep going. The horizon keeps going. The horizon is always ahead. Never here. Never now. Perhaps happiness sometimes feels like the horizon. Always one step further. Always one goal away. Always one achievement away. There's nothing unusual about this. It is a very human tendency. After all, goals are important. Dreams are important. Growth is important. This story is not about giving up on goals. Not at all. It is about something else. Something quieter. Something deeper. Imagine a gardener planting flowers. The gardener waters the soil every day, morning after morning, week after week. The gardener could spend every moment thinking about the flowers. How tall they will become. How beautiful they will become. How different the garden will look. But imagine another gardener, a gardener who enjoys the watering, who enjoys the sunlight, who enjoys the smell of the earth after rain, who enjoys the process itself. Both gardeners may eventually have flowers, but their journeys are completely different. Perhaps happiness works the same way. Maybe happiness is not hiding at the end of the journey. Maybe it appears during the journey. Maybe you've experienced this while learning English. Most people have. At first, the goal feels clear. Become fluent. Speak naturally. Understand everything. The destination looks exciting. And there is nothing wrong with that. Goals give us direction. Goals help us move forward. But something interesting often happens. Many learners tell themselves, I'll enjoy English when I'm fluent. I'll relax when I'm fluent. I'll feel confident when I'm fluent. And so they wait. They wait for a future version of themselves. A version that speaks better, knows more, feels more confident. Meanwhile, something beautiful is happening. A new word is understood. A sentence suddenly makes sense. A podcast becomes easier. A conversation feels more natural. Small victories appear. Quiet victories. Almost invisible victories. And sometimes they go unnoticed. Why? Because the learner is staring at the destination, not the journey. Imagine climbing a mountain. The summit is important. Of course it is. But imagine spending the entire climb looking only at the peak. You miss the forest. You miss the fresh air. You miss the changing clouds. You miss the people walking beside you. You miss the journey itself. And perhaps the journey was part of the reward all along. Life often teaches this lesson. Again, and again, and again. Imagine a child waiting for summer. Summer finally arrives. The child is happy for a while. Then autumn comes. Then winter. Then the child begins waiting again. Imagine someone saving money for a new car. The car arrives. Excitement arrives. For a while, then the excitement fades, and a new goal appears. Imagine someone waiting for a promotion. The promotion arrives. For a while, everything feels different. Then slowly, the feeling becomes normal, and another destination appears in the distance. Again, and again, and again. The destination changes. The pattern remains. Perhaps the problem is not the destination. Perhaps the problem is where we think happiness lives. Maybe we've placed happiness too far away. Maybe we've asked the future to do something only the present can do. Imagine sitting beside a river. The river does not hurry. It does not rush toward the ocean. It simply moves. Around rocks. Around fallen branches. Around every obstacle. Day after day. Year after year. And somehow, it reaches the ocean anyway. Perhaps there is wisdom in that. Perhaps the river understands something many people forget. The journey is not separate from the destination. The journey creates the destination. Maybe happiness is similar. Maybe happiness is not waiting at the next station. Maybe happiness is found in the small moments we keep walking past. A conversation, a sunrise, a quiet evening, a good book, a warm cup of coffee. A sentence finally understood, a story that makes us smile, moments so ordinary that we often overlook them. And yet, life is made of ordinary moments, not extraordinary ones. But if happiness is not hiding in the future, why do so many of us keep searching for it there? Why do we keep believing that the next achievement, the next milestone, the next destination will finally give us what we are looking for? Perhaps the answer is simpler than we think, and perhaps that is where our story begins to go deeper. Perhaps the answer begins with something very simple. Hope? Human beings are creatures of hope. We imagine, we plan, we dream, we look ahead. And there is something beautiful about that. Without hope, many journeys would never begin. Without hope, many dreams would never be pursued. Without hope, many goals would remain untouched. Hope is not the problem. Not at all. The problem begins when we quietly make a deal with the future. A deal many of us never notice. The deal sounds something like this. I will allow myself to be happy later. Not now. Later. Maybe you've experienced this before. Most people have. I'll relax when this project is finished. I'll enjoy life when things become easier. I'll be happy when I finally reach my goal. The sentence changes. The promise remains. Happiness gets moved. Further away. Again. And again. And again. Imagine carrying a suitcase. At first, the suitcase feels light. You barely notice it. But hour after hour, the weight grows heavier. The suitcase itself has not changed. Your experience has, eventually, you begin dreaming about the moment you can put it down. The problem is that many people carry an invisible suitcase, not filled with clothes, not filled with books, filled with expectations. expectations about the future, expectations about success, expectations about what life should look like. And often, they tell themselves, I'll rest when I arrive. But arrive where? That question is worth asking. Imagine climbing a staircase. You reach the first floor. Then you notice another floor. You reach the second. Then a third. Then a fourth. The building never seems to end. Perhaps happiness sometimes feels trapped in a staircase like that. Always one floor higher. Always one achievement away. Always one step beyond the present moment. Maybe you've noticed this in your own life. Most people have. Think about something you once wanted badly. Very badly. Perhaps it was a new job, a new house, a new opportunity, a new relationship, or perhaps fluency in English. For months, maybe even years, you imagined how different life would feel. You imagined how happy you would be, how complete you would feel, how satisfied you would become. Then one day, the thing finally arrived, and for a while, the happiness was real, very real. But what happened next? A new goal appeared. A new destination appeared. A new version of I'll be happy when appeared. It is a very human tendency. There is nothing unusual about this. In fact, many people spend years learning this lesson. Imagine a child on the night before a birthday. The child can barely sleep. The excitement feels endless. Tomorrow seems magical. Tomorrow seems perfect. Then the birthday arrives. The gifts are opened. The cake is eaten. The celebration ends. And eventually, another day begins. Life continues. The excitement fades. Not because anything went wrong. Because excitement was never meant to last forever. Perhaps many adults continue living the same pattern. Only the gifts become different. The goals become different. The numbers become different, but the pattern remains. Imagine sitting beside a window on a rainy afternoon. The rain falls softly. Cars move through the streets. People hurry from one place to another. Everyone seems busy. Everyone seems focused on what comes next. And for a moment, you do nothing. You simply watch. You simply listen. You simply sit. No goal. No deadline. No destination. Just the sound of rain. Just the present moment. Perhaps moments like this contain a lesson. A quiet lesson. A lesson many people overlook. Life is happening here. Not later. Not tomorrow. Not after the next achievement. Here. Now. Imagine reading a book. Many people become so focused on the ending that they rush through the pages. They want to know what happens. They want to reach the conclusion. And yet, the story exists in the pages, not only in the final chapter. The characters live in the pages. The emotions live in the pages. The meaning lives in the pages. Perhaps life works the same way. Many people are racing toward the final chapter, forgetting that life is written one page at a time. Maybe you've felt this while learning English. Most people have. You tell yourself, I'll enjoy English when it feels easy. Then one day, a sentence becomes easier, but now you want fluency. Then fluency improves, but now you want confidence. Then confidence grows, but now you want perfection. The destination keeps moving. Like the horizon, like the next station, like the next floor in the staircase. Always ahead, never here, never now. Imagine standing beside the ocean at sunset. The sky changes color. Orange becomes gold. Gold becomes pink. Pink becomes purple. The transformation happens slowly, quietly, beautifully. But imagine staring at your watch the entire time. You would miss it. The beauty was there. You were simply looking somewhere else. Perhaps happiness often works this way. Not absent. Overlooked. Not missing. Unnoticed. Not hidden in the future. Hidden beneath our attention. Life seems to offer small moments constantly. A kind smile. A meaningful conversation. A peaceful walk. A favorite song, a warm meal, a page from a good book, a sentence that suddenly makes sense. Small moments, ordinary moments, moments that rarely appear on social media, moments that rarely become headlines. And yet, these moments quietly shape a life. Perhaps happiness was never meant to be a destination. Perhaps it was meant to be a companion, walking beside us, day after day, moment after moment. But if happiness has been beside us all along, why is it so easy to miss? Why do so many people overlook what is already here? Why does the future often seem more attractive than the present? Perhaps the answer has something to do with attention. And perhaps that is where our story begins to go even deeper. Perhaps happiness is easy to miss for a very simple reason. We are often looking somewhere else. Maybe you've experienced this before. Most people have. Imagine searching everywhere for your glasses. You check the table, the kitchen, the bedroom, the living room. You become frustrated. You become impatient. You keep searching. Then suddenly, you realize something. The glasses were on your head the entire time. The problem was not that the glasses were missing. The problem was where you were looking. Perhaps happiness is sometimes like that, not absent, not lost, simply overlooked. Imagine standing in a beautiful garden. Flowers surround you, birds sing nearby. A gentle breeze moves through the trees. The sunlight touches the leaves. The entire garden is alive, and yet, you spend the entire time staring at a gate on the other side. A gate you have not reached yet. A gate you believe will make everything better. Perhaps many people live this way, surrounded by small moments of life, focused only on what comes next. There's nothing unusual about this. It is a very human tendency. We all struggle with this from time to time. Imagine a traveler riding a train. The traveler spends the entire journey thinking about arrival, hour after hour, station after station. The traveler imagines the destination, dreams about the destination, plans for the destination, and eventually, the destination arrives. For a moment, there is excitement. For a moment, there is satisfaction. But then something interesting happens. A new destination appears. Another train, another station, another goal, again, and again, and again. Perhaps the problem was never the destination. Perhaps the traveler forgot to enjoy the journey. Life often feels like that. A person waits for graduation, then waits for a career, then waits for success, then waits for retirement. Always waiting, always preparing, always arriving somewhere, yet somehow never fully arriving. Why? Because happiness was never living in those places. Maybe you've felt this while learning English. Most people have. At first, you tell yourself, I'll be happy when I can understand English. Then understanding improves, and a new goal appears. I'll be happy when I can speak naturally. Then speaking improves, and another goal appears. I'll be happy when I sound fluent. Then fluency improves, and another goal appears. The destination keeps moving. The horizon keeps moving. The next station keeps moving. The future keeps moving. Perhaps happiness was never trying to run away. Perhaps we were the ones chasing. Imagine a river flowing through a valley. The river does not spend its days wishing to become the ocean. It simply flows through forests, through fields, through mountains, through seasons. Every moment of the journey belongs to the river, not only the ending. Perhaps life is asking us to learn something similar. Perhaps life is asking us to stop postponing happiness. Not because goals are bad, not because dreams are unimportant, but because life is happening now, right now. This conversation, this breath, this moment. Imagine an elderly woman sitting on a porch. The evening sun is beginning to disappear. The air feels calm. The day is ending. She looks back on her life, the years, the memories, the people she loved, the places she visited. the challenges she faced, and perhaps she realizes something. The moments she remembers most are not always the biggest ones, not always the promotions, not always the achievements, not always the victories. Often, they are the ordinary moments. A family dinner, a walk with someone she loved, a quiet morning, a shared laugh, a simple conversation. Moments that seemed small at the time, moments that seemed ordinary, moments that quietly became a life. Perhaps this is one of the most beautiful truths we can learn. Life is not built from extraordinary moments alone. Life is built from ordinary moments repeated many times. A conversation, then another. A sunrise, then another. A cup of coffee, then another. A page from a book, then another. A walk, then another. Again, and again, and again. The ordinary becomes extraordinary through repetition. Maybe happiness works the same way, not as a single moment, not as a final destination, but as countless small moments woven together. Imagine looking at a large tapestry. From far away, it appears to be one image, one beautiful picture. But move closer, and something changes. You begin seeing the threads, thousands of threads, tiny threads, ordinary threads. The picture exists because of them. Perhaps a happy life is similar. It is not one moment. It is not one achievement. It is not one destination. It is thousands of ordinary moments, woven together over time. Maybe you've felt this before. Most people have. Perhaps there was a moment when you were completely present, not thinking about tomorrow, not worrying about yesterday, not chasing the next goal, simply present. Maybe it happened during a walk. Maybe it happened while reading. Maybe it happened while listening to music. Maybe it happened while talking to someone you love. For a brief moment, nothing was missing. And perhaps that moment contains an important lesson. Perhaps happiness is not created when everything becomes perfect. Perhaps happiness appears when we stop demanding that life be somewhere else. Imagine sitting beside the ocean at sunset. The waves continue arriving, again, and again, and again. The sky slowly changes color. The wind moves gently across the water. Nothing dramatic happens. Nothing extraordinary happens. And yet, many people would call it beautiful. Why? Because beauty often lives in presence, not achievement. Presence. Perhaps happiness does too. So if you remember one thing from this story, remember this. It is good to have goals. It is good to have dreams. It is good to move forward. But do not place all of your happiness in the future. Do not ask tomorrow to carry what today can already provide. Because perhaps happiness is not waiting at the next station. Perhaps it is not hiding behind the next achievement. Perhaps it is not living in some distant future version of yourself. Perhaps it has been walking beside you all along, quietly, patiently, waiting for you to notice. Thank you for spending this time with me, and see you in the next story.